Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Throughout this whole process, a lot of medical providers have been out there and helping and having conversations and making themselves available to the people, well, quite frankly, they serve through media. And Sanford has been fabulous at that. Whenever we call them and say, look, we want an update, we want to hear what's going on, we want to make sure the people that listen to the News and Views radio network can get, the latest situation when it comes to COVID, they've always been willing to do that, and I appreciate it. Dr. Doug Griffin is with Sanford Health. He is Sanford Health's vice president in the area of health, and so let's get him on. Dr. Griffin, good to have you on News and Views.
Yeah, good morning, Joel.
Where are we at today? Because for many people, I'm sitting out here, Dr. Griffin, at the Red River Valley Fair, and the gates are going to open at 11. If I grab the first 100 people and ask them whether or not COVID is over, if it's done, I think 99 would say yes.
Yeah, well, it's not over. We're certainly in a much better spot than much better spot than we were, last fall. The number of cases remains small across the state, down to levels that we hadn't seen since March of 2020, and very few hospitalizations, deaths have fallen way off. And then, of course, I think much of that's been attributed to the difference between this summer and last summer is vaccinations. So I think that's had a big influx as well. Yeah, I admit it certainly looks a lot more normal out there now, gathering at fairs, gathering at concerts and venues than it did. So still, and we expect this. We expect just because we have many people unvaccinated, that we will still have some cases occurring for quite a while.
Is the vaccine that I took, and I'm one of those individuals that proudly says he took the vaccine and isn't afraid to tell anybody and everybody to take the vaccine, but is the vaccine that I took going to protect me against the Delta variant?
Yeah, we have really good evidence that all the vaccines available in the United States have demonstrated ongoing good protection against the Delta variant, particularly the two messenger RNA manufactured vaccines, that would be from Moderna and Pfizer, continue to show very strong protection for the Delta variant. So that's good.
So if you look at some of the age groups that are left, if I've got a 6-year-old son or daughter, and I'm going to send them off to kindergarten this year, should I be worried about them?
Well, I think, it's different than in any time, and probably a little bit more concern than other years, because kids always share at school, and so we see a lot of infections shared. Fortunately, children, when they've gotten COVID, have not gotten as sick or ill from it, but some have become seriously ill. But the other thing is hopefully the school teachers vaccinated, more people around vaccinated, and I think that just makes it a little harder for the virus to get a firm hold within a community. So some concern. I don't know that it's certainly feels a lot better than going to school last fall.
So I'm going to give you a scenario of a conversation I had with an anti-vaxxer, and he said, Joel, you in the media are not reporting about all the people that have gotten sick from the vaccine. You've not reported about the fact that the vaccinations as a whole are no different than the flu vaccine. They work on some, they don't work on others. The percentages aren't where they need to be, and long term, it's going to be very harmful for my health versus what it could do for me today. What's your answer to that anti-vaxxer that had that conversation with me?
Well, I'll say my first brief answer I'll give you is bullpucky, and then the second, a little bit more scientific on that. These vaccines are now been given to millions of people and showing to be very safe. They have efficacy that is significantly better than flu vaccine has been in the last number of years. So that's a very, very good. And then these vaccines have not been around a long time. However, we have many, many years of understanding how vaccines work in the body. So we do not expect that we are going to see anything long-term serious side effects from it. Now, the vaccines, like all the other vaccines, do have some side effects, and some people have gotten, kind of ill after the second vaccine, but have not died from the vaccine. We do know that unvaccinated people continue to die from COVID. In fact, that's the vast, vast majority of people that are getting ill enough to be hospitalized and dying are unvaccinated people in this country.
Well, and let me tell you this, if they talk about long-term circumstances when it comes to the vaccine, I have a sister that still can't smell. So, and she had COVID quite a while ago. And so if you think that the risk, when you want to weigh those risks, let me ask you this. How would you like to go through 6 months of not being able to smell and still not know whether or not you're going to get it back? But that's not part of what they want to have a conversation about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Griffin, I want to tie you in with Mike and give you an opportunity to speak to him. Mike, you're on with Dr. Griffin.
Yeah, I guess I've done quite a bit of reading, and they do not talk at all about the negative effects from the vaccine. It's there's been some whistleblowers inside the CDC that have said that the numbers of people died from the vaccine is way more than the 6,000 they've reported. They say it's closer to 50,000, and people that have been very closely associated with the vaccine say it's not safe. So, I mean, for people to say to completely dismiss out of hand the discussion of people who are not getting the vaccine, I think is totally unfair because nobody is really, and it's still. Now, tell me this: why is the
What, Mike? Hold on, Mike. Let him respond to that, Mike. Let him respond to that first. Go ahead, Doctor.
Yeah, well, I'll respectively disagree. I think the vaccine manufacturing companies, the CDC, FDA have been extremely transparent with their data, and I think it just doesn't support what you're saying and what you're hearing from supposedly whistleblowers. So I trust you at some point in time, and I have great trust in the integrity of the scientific system and the process, and I just respectfully disagree with the assumption that there's been that many deaths from the vaccine. I think it continues to be very safe, and the benefits far outweigh the risks. I know not everybody will agree with that, but that's, I think, what the facts state.
No, Mike, go ahead and ask him another question. I'll give you one more.
All right. Okay. I guess two things. One, the FDA hasn't approved it yet, and the second is why. And if the FDA hasn't approved it, and they say up to 50% of the CDC people that work within the CDC haven't gotten the vaccine yet. So, I mean, Doctor, I have to respectfully disagree with you on that. And why, if the FDA hasn't approved it, why are we keep giving shots and the companies aren't responsible? If people are dying from it or having severe, people are having strokes and heart conditions, and nobody's responsible for it.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your call. Dr. Griffin, that's the conversations that are being had out there.
Yep. I do that, and we have to do that. But, still I think there's a large number of people other than Mike that haven't received the vaccine, and they are just, hesitant but not necessarily opposed to it. I think it is unusual that we have, but this was a global pandemic, that we have the vaccine available under emergency use authorization. I do understand the conversation about FDA approval, but that does not mean it's not safe. And actually, it was very strongly vetted. I expect the FDA approval to come probably first for the Pfizer vaccine, then for the Moderna vaccine as early as later this summer or early fall.
Hey, the sense I get, though, is that from the Mikes of the world, when they look at data, the data sources that they have are not necessarily independent, for lack of a better way of putting it. They fit a narrative that is very that makes people be able to back up the argument that they want to make. And for example, somebody showed me the publication where the CDC employees, only 50% of them have taken the vaccine. Doctor, you're well read on the subject. Is that true? Mike put it out there. I don't know that it's not true.
Yeah. I would be skeptical of that, but I have not seen any documentation either to support or not support that. What I can tell you is that I think people would agree that perhaps the most respective health professionals that people tell us is physicians, and I can tell you more than 90% of our physicians have taken the vaccine. So.
Exactly.
So I think that I can validate,
the biggest argument you can get in with an anti-vaxxer is if you tell them to go talk to their doctor, and you say, well, "What does your doctor say?" And that's when they get really mad at you. Dr. Griffin, thank you, sir. Thanks for coming on with us.
You're very welcome. Have a good day.
You bet. Dr. Doug Griffin, ladies and gentlemen.